airborne missions over Arnhem, on Operation Market Garden. Sutherland and his crew were on no bombing mission this 13th June night. The first four-engine heavy to see service with the RAF, the Stirling had been deemed largely obsolete by 1942, as the Avro Lancaster came into service. But this iconic warplane had gone on to acquire a second lease of life as the foremost aircraft delivering SAS raiding parties, plus agents of the SOE, the Special Operations Executive, more commonly known as Churchill's Ministry for Ungentlemanly Warfare, deep into enemy-occupied lands. Tonight's was a hybrid mission born of those two outfits. It was very much an SAS undertaking, but one orchestrated by the SOE, who had arranged both the drop zone and the reception party that should be waiting on the ground. As a lone aircraft flying low at night across hundreds of miles of hostile airspace to an, at best, uncertain rendezvous, the Stirling had proven a remarkably tough and reliable workhorse, one able to take considerable punishment. Despite her size and weight, the aircraft had also shown herself to be surprisingly nimble and manoeuvrable when forced to shake off the Luftwaffe night fighters or evade the enemy's deadly radar-directed searchlights and flak. Considering the Stirling's sheer dimensions, at just short of 70 feet from nose to tail, she was a good 16 feet longer than the Lancaster and stood higher off the ground. This was no mean achievement for such an imposing warplane. As with all aircrew of 190 Squadron, one of the few RAF units dedicated to Special Forces operations, Sutherland and his fellows knew precious little about tonight's mission, or the brave men they were flying into war. Codenamed Sabu 70, Sabu being this unit's radio call sign, and very likely an abbreviation for the SAS catchphrase, "Safe all business as usual," this was the first stick, patrol, of several that would follow. With each, the aircrew would know only the bare bones of the operation, timings, destination, and the criteria upon which to determine if the drop should go ahead or not. Aircrew logbooks generally recorded scant details for such sunflower flights, as the RAF codenamed these top-secret missions. Pilots were deliberately kept in the dark for obvious reasons. If a Stirling were to be shot down and its crew captured, the enemy had ways of forcing even the toughest to talk. Any knowledge aircrew might possess of an SAS patrol's intentions could prove fatal, and what a man didn't know, he couldn't tell. On the rare occasions when pilots such as Sutherland did learn more, a mission objective, the specific target details, it meant that someone had been talking out of turn. And in the summer of '44, careless talk really did cost lives. As the Stirling swooped across the Sussex coastline, powering on towards the cliffs of France, Sutherland took the aircraft down to just a few hundred feet above sea level, the warplane's elusive silhouette flitting across the ink-black seas. During an English summer, sunset can be as late as 9:30 p.m., and normally the light lingers long in the skies. The June '44 weather had proven storm-lashed and overcast, but it was still well after last light by the time Sutherland got airborne. All being well, his human cargo would be plunging into the war-torn skies in the early hours of the morrow, 14th June 1944. There was little doubt that they would jump, every man jack of them, and no matter what the conditions might be like over the drop zone. While they might know precious little about tonight's mission, Sutherland and his men had few illusions as to the caliber of those riding in the Stirling's hold. One glance at their distinctive berets, mysterious winged dagger cap badges, and the medal flashes many wore on their uniforms, testified to the single-minded determination and courage, not to mention the long years at war, of the SAS raiding party. All the 190 Squadron aircrews shared that same appreciation. "These special troops are the most decorated men I have ever seen," one pilot would remark, "especially the officers. Quite a number have the DSO and bar. There is quite a collection of vets in the mess these days." The Stirling powered onwards through the darkness, speeding Sabu 70's commander, Captain Patrick Bannister Garstin, MC, and the 11 men under his command, to war, the sonorous thunder of the warplane's 4 Bristol Hercules power plants reverberating through the hold, providing a steady soundtrack to the coming mission. The fact that there were